Oh, freak. Okay, now I think that it's on recording, maybe. Hi, my name is Emily Crow from Crochet Creations, and welcome to my first ever yarn vlog. If you've been following me along on Instagram or on my blog, then you may know that I have a goal to attack my stash, meaning use up my yarn that I have. It was the beginning of 2020 and I realized I just had way too much yarn. I'd gone accumulating and I feel like people who like the fiber arts love to collect yarn as like one hobby and then use it as another, and I just realized I had too much. We were in a little 2-bedroom apartment and I knew I had to change something. I had to change my buying habits. I had to make more space in my home. I wanted to become more minimal and intentional with the yarn I had. But rather than just clearing out all this yarn, I thought I would maybe teach myself a lesson, but at least learn something along the way by choosing to use up that yarn rather than just donating it. Here we are almost 18 months later, and I'm really proud of the work that I've done and how much yarn I've gone through. Today, we are not talking about that. We are talking about moving. Unexpectedly, my family will be moving from Texas to California for a temporary 6-month stint for my husband's job. They're putting us up in a furnished apartment, which is so awesome. That means that about 90 to 95% of our stuff is going into storage, and we're really just bringing the bare minimum of what we'll need for the next 6 months. And because of that, I need to go through my yarn stash because I still have too much yarn to bring with us. Today, I am going to be going through my yarn stash to pick what I want to bring with me to California for this little adventure. I'm taking you along with me. As you can see, my house is kind of a mess. We've had very little warning of this move. We knew that maybe we'd be moving. We decided to move, and now we have 1 week deciding what we're going to bring with us, and then we go on vacation. And as soon as we get back from vacation, like the very next day, I think movers are coming. We kind of need to be done sorting through and organizing, hence crazy space on top of my dresser. So I apologize. We'll probably go through some of that since I have quite a few of my hooks. I have some books, other random yarn and non-yarn related things. Today we are going to tackle this yarn corner. Alright, so here is my yarn stash right now. Takes up about 4 and some bins maybe, which is like way better than it used to. I think I had like 8 bins to begin with. So I've made lots of progress, which is awesome. But today our task will be figuring out what is worth keeping for our move. The rest of it will go into storage. Like, I'm still going to be working on Attack My Stash, I think. But I do want to make sure to only really bring the stuff I think I'll be using over the next little bit. Especially because our space will be limited. Not only are we moving into a furnished apartment in California, but we are downsizing to a 1-bedroom. We're starting. Well, first off, I know that my Swift and my yarn winder are not going to come with me. Especially my Swift. It takes up way too much space. I have some skeins of yarn I've recently acquired that I will show you guys. I'll line them up and we will be bringing those skeins of yarn, but these supplies will not be coming with us. I've got some DK weight cotton here. It's lots of itty bitty mini skeins, so I count each of these individually in my yarn stash. When you really think about it, there's not that many. For sure, I would love to bring this combo. I probably will end up bringing all of these bigger like paint box DK skeins. When it comes to downsizing and decluttering and moving, what's most important is to pick your favorites, what you can't live without, because probably all of the maybes won't be able to make it. Definitely I'm going to grab these, and then as a contrast, this beautiful red color, and then the rest we will not plan on bringing unless we somehow find space, but I don't know exactly how much yarn I'll end up wanting to take with me. We shall see. My plan is to have an underbed storage container, because I have one extra. My plan is to fit all of my yarn in here, and so that's kind of how much space I'm allocating for my yarn and things, and I'll have a little bit more space for like supplies probably, but what's the likelihood I'm gonna need bells for like making rattles? Not very high. I can live without that probably. My loom, I haven't even used this one. I just haven't gotten around to it, so it's not gonna come with us. This is another bunch of materials. I'm just gonna assume that this will not come with us. I don't have a lot of time, so I'm trying to get through as much as I can before my baby girl wakes up. I'm gonna assume that I can't bring any of this, and then if I happen to have a little bit more space, then I may come back and sort through this a little bit better. I might bring my knitting machine. We'll just set this aside for a later date, I think. Okay, first bin of actual yarn. Here we go, here we go. Oh man, this is like my least favorite yarn. So this will be pretty easy. I need to remember I should not be grabbing what if yarn. I should be grabbing yarn that I'm excited to use, that I plan on using for the next 6 months. I have this one skein of the Hook Nook yarn. This beautiful gray color. I think I'll bring that. And thinking about the colder weather coming up towards the end of the year, I have a couple beautiful skeins of this like burgundy bulky weight yarn. I don't have any more super bulky yarn because I've used up all that. I think these will be really beautiful that I will end up using. I have all sorts of yarn from my days growing up, like this skein. I don't even know what this is. Some kind of boucle yarn. I don't know. The likelihood of me using most of this is very low unless I were to make something like for donation, which is a possibility. Oh, this Pantone X. It's a beautiful purple skein. I think they're all separate skeins or something. That's annoying. Not a priority. We will leave this bin for a later date. I didn't think that we would come to this point so soon. Oh, this is a bunch of random skeins that I've had lying around. I just tried to gather up. Oh man, this yarn. This is another Karen X Pantone collaboration, and it was this beautiful colorway. Cranberry Meadow, I think it is. It had like maybe 5 different skeins, but I've got these beautiful balls. I have like 2 skeins worth, so there's like 2 of each color. I've been meaning to make something out of that. They're pretty small. I want to make a fall dress or something for Georgia, my daughter. We will set those aside, hopefully. That's something I can work on since I've had that literally on my desk forever, like forever. So we need to make that happen. This is my whip bin that I've gone through and done a lot with, so I'm happy about that. But I need to decide which of these whips I honestly think I will want to make over the next little while. Ooh, this first one for sure. It's this beautiful Bernat baby velvet in a color Orchid Hush. Got 2 big skeins of this, and I have a pattern design that I've started and have a long way to go on. 'Tis not the season right now. It is almost June, so I have not worked on it in a really long time. There she is. I think that would be a really great fall or winter design. I'm gonna bring that with the hopes that I can work through that yarn and finish that design up. I made a bunch of little squares out of cotton yarn to make cubes, different colors, like a green cube, a blue cube, a purple cube, pink cube. I don't know if I'll get through that. It's just a lot of seaming. I made all the squares. Now I just have to seam it. I should finish them. I'll put them in if we end up having room, which we probably won't have room, but if we do, I'll have something to do. I made for a pattern test for Crafting for Weeks this leopard print mitten. It's fabulous, but I only made one because I was only required to make one for the pattern test. But I need to make the other one. Again, it is not the season, but it will be the season. And literally one mitten is of no use to anybody, so I really need to finish this one too. This is the problem with having a big whip bin, is that I have whips to fill the space and then some. There's lots of whips that I really need to work on, and I can get a good chunk of this yarn finished if I finish that. So let's hope that we will be successful at finishing that within the next 6 months. Tune in 6 months when I revisit the yarn I've used and see if I'm successful at finishing that whip. And then a bunch of these other ones are leftover scrubby bits, scrunchies I haven't tied the ends in, nothing I'm attached to. So we were just gonna set that aside and move on. Another bin done. We're doing pretty good. Okay, took a quick break to stand up, make sure that everything was saving okay, because I filled up my cart earlier, so just making sure. I don't know if you can hear my baby in the background, but she's starting to wake up. We're going to try to get through this bin and then move on. because our time is very limited. If any of you remember Bernat Make Your Home Deck, I have a big stockpile and I'm just scared to use it up because I know it's really hard to find now. I love this yarn. I just need to use it. So let's sort through and see. I also have a lot of velvet yarn in this bin. Velvet scrunchies have been my biggest seller, so I'm not sure. The thing about yarn and just crafting in general is that there's so many what ifs tied to the creation of something. It makes it really hard to let go of yarn, at least for me, because there's so much use to be had out of it. I'm gonna bring just a couple colors that are my favorites, or these ones that are almost done so I can finish them, attack my stash, get it done. A couple small used skeins that I've wound up, that Bernat Homemaker deck, I'll take those. I thought I had, maybe it got moved around to another bin. I think I'll end up having space for more yarn than I'm allocating, but I'm really just trying to go through and get my faves out of the way, making sure that they come with me. This bin. I've been living in this bin recently with the warmer weather coming around, wanting some lighter yarn. I tried to organize my yarn bins based on their weight, and I've got a lot on my brain that I want to make with this. One thing that I've had on my brain that I want to make is a seriously soft sweater by Stephanie Aaron with this lace weight yarn. Feza Opulent. It's a silk, extra fine merino, and kid mohair blend. Really soft and squishy. It is pretty small, like lace weight, but I have it in black and purple. I have quite a few skeins of this, so I'm going to pack this all with me so that I can make a sweater, and I think I'm going to do a fade. And with the purple and the black, I think it'll be perfect for the fall, especially around Halloween time. So that is my plan. I haven't started yet, mostly because things have gotten really crazy with our trip to see the area, and then this move, and then vacation, and then the actual move. So I haven't started it yet, but that is the plan for all of these. So I need to fish them out, make sure I catch everything. I don't want to leave any of those guys behind. Oh goodness, there we go. I think we have located all the yarn. I have 10 skeins of this stuff, so I need to make sure I bring all of that. I have a pattern design in mind using Lime Brain Summer Nights. I picked this up probably last summer. It's just so beautiful. I was thinking originally I was gonna make like a summer cardigan or ruana, but I decided that I think I'm gonna make this into an empire waist skirt to make it more maternity friendly. And I'm gonna make it like really big and flowy so that it could hold a bump, since I just feel like there's not a lot of nursing and maternity related crochet patterns out there. And I wrote a pattern, the Sweet Pea Wrap Top, last year for nursing and pregnant mamas, and I want to keep going and making more things like that. So that's what this is. So I'm really excited to start working on that now that I have a really good idea of what I want to do. I just need to make it happen. I have a lot of cotton in this bin. I've recently been using a lot of cotton for like scrubbies and washcloths. So I don't know if I'm burnt out on cotton or if I want to keep working through a lot of that. Here's some fingering weight yarn from Greenwood Fiberworks that I bought a while back. It's called Spice Market. But it's beautiful, all hanged up. I don't know what I'm going to do, but pretty much going to bring all of my really nice yarn with me, because hopefully it'll give me good inspiration for what I want to do. I thought about maybe making a Captiva crop top, since I think that would require about 2 skeins of fingering weight yarn for my size, but not quite decided on what I want to do with that. But I want to use it up. It's my little one. Sounds like a baby dinosaur back there. So many decisions. It's so hard to just pick the ones I want to bring with me. And I've got the Feza Angel yarn, which is a different blend than the Opulent. This one is silk rayon and merino wool. I've got less because I was thinking about maybe making a t-shirt with it, which would be cool. Maybe I can make a lace-way shawl. I'm not quite sure. I'll set those aside in the maybe pile, because I do want to use that up, but I don't have a plan yet. I have lots of nice yarns that I need to use. I don't know why I've been hoarding these. Oh, I had an idea for this yarn. Thought I put this away organized, but it's all over the place. I've got this beautiful multicolored yarn, and then the light blue and the dark blue to match. I've got more of the multicolored. I was thinking about doing like a striped shirt. I bought these last year in Kansas City with my mom when she came to visit. No, not last year. Oh my gosh, that was 2 years ago. That's crazy. That's crazy. I bought this 2 years ago when my mom was visiting, when we lived in Kansas City. That's also maybe because I really don't have a pattern set aside. I tried working it up a little bit and I just wasn't feeling it, so I gotta find something that'll work for that. I got this baby alpaca. Where's the other guy? I've got 2 of these cute little purple things. That's another maybe. I have lots of maybes, I guess. Oh, here's the other one. And I think the thing is, lots of possibilities with my yarn. Part of what I realized is that I have so much yarn that I couldn't possibly make stuff as soon as I am inspired by it. So I really need to only buy the yarn that I am inspired to make something immediately, rather than something that I may one day like or that may one day make with it. And that's just kind of what I've decided as far as my crafting goes, in order to not buy too much. Okay, we are back. I had to take a break so that I could feed my baby since she woke up. But we are back here. We are ready to go. I really want to sort through the rest of my yarn today so that we can work on other parts of the house over the next few days. So we're going to attack this. You'll see that my daughter, she's having so much fun playing right next to me, and hopefully she'll be good. But you may be hearing her in the background while I'm sorting through some yarn. Here we go. I think I'm almost done with this bin. Yeah, there's lots of what ifs for what I could make. What should I make? How should I spend my time? I have this DK weight. Again, a thought that maybe I would make some kind of a garment. I have not done so yet. I have 4 of these skeins. I think I will hopefully come up with something to do, but I'm not sure. So probably they'll go in the maybe pile. If I'm struck by inspiration, then I will for sure be bringing it. When I have 4 skeins of one color and I have a garment in mind, then I can use up that yarn really fast. I don't honestly think I necessarily want to take this cotton yarn. I don't have too much left compared to previously. I don't know what I want to do as far as craft fairs while we're out. If I end up having more space, I may come back to this yarn, because there's some pretty cottons that I could definitely make and sell something, but I've got plenty of stock that I would choose to bring first before bringing more cotton yarn, so we'll stick with what we've got. Alright, we are on the very last bin of yarn, and this one's an extra big bin. Okay, I'm feeling ready to be done with all of this, but we're going to discover what other yarn treasures I have in here that I may have forgotten about. I have this wool, 100% wool yarn, really pretty gray color, but I bought this, and then I have a classic black wool. I've wanted to make an amigurumi black sheep for a while now, and so I have had this yarn. I should make it because I just thought it'd be so cute making a little black sheep. Oh, and my baby is making her way this way. Hi! Are you coming to play with Mama? Do you want to play with this yarn? See if that one skein will distract her enough to stay away from the tripod. Let's see if I can relocate her. Okay, baby has been relocated. This bin is full of what ifs. So I have all this Red Heart Huga Charm yarn. I literally was like, oh, this is so pretty, and it was on clearance, I think, at Joann's when I bought it. So I literally bought one of every single colorway because I was like, I'm gonna make market things with this. And actually, it's gone a long way. The things I chose to make, messy buns, people haven't wanted. So I kind of didn't work through it as fast as I anticipated because I wasn't able to sell things from it, unfortunately. So now it's hanging out in my stash, and I have a lot of stories like that with my stash yarn as I've worked through some of it. I got this really fun sparkly yarn to make amigurumi Christmas trees, and I had such a fun time designing and making them, and I thought people were gonna love them because I put jingle bells inside, so they'd be such a fun toy, and I haven't sold any, which is a huge bummer. I don't know. It makes me sad. Those are clearly not coming though, but there's just a lot of stories like that with the yarn that I have in my stash, especially this bin. I have a couple of these Hello Gorgeous yarn that's almost done. Maybe I can stash bust some of this. I'll pull out a couple since these are the small guys. I think I've pulled out all the favorites that I'm definitely planning on keeping. It's actually not as much as I thought, but we still have the yarn that I need to wind up. Let's take care of that. Okay, so my setup is kind of wonky. We don't have a lot of surfaces that I can clamp my Swift and my ball winder to. Here we are in the baby's room. We've got just like a folding chair for my Swift, and we've got my yarn winder over here on the bookshelf. We are going to take care of these hanks of yarn that I've got. We are going to act fast because baby is losing her cool. She's right at the end of her rope, so I'm going to show you everything I've acquired this month. It's been crazy, especially considering that I've tried for a year and a half to not buy a lot of yarn, and then all of a sudden I bought a lot of yarn. Oops. Okay, so some yarn I could not pass up is by LaRue Cotton. So pretty. This colorway is called Georgia Peach. I bought a few skeins of that, and then to complement it, I bought Sunny Days. So pretty. My daughter's name is Georgia, and her theme has ended up being peach related. Not on purpose, but part of the colors of her nursery were peach, based on some yarn my mom bought for a blanket for her, and then it's just kind of evolved into peaches as being part of her theme. And because her name is Georgia, it totally works way too well. So I bought some of that, and it's so pretty, and I'm so excited to make something for Georgia. I have a design in mind that I'm going to make. I've got that Georgia Peach yarn on my Swift and winder going. The little one is having a bit of a hard time right now. She's done playing independently, but I'm gonna try and show you the other yarn that I've recently acquired. I'm super excited for this Georgia Peach yarn so I can make something for my little Peach. But I've got some other goodies too. So Rella Yarn had a oopsie sale. For an oopsie sale, what happens is they will sell their overstock skeins, they will sell anything they had to dye over, any mistakes in dyeing, things like that, for a cheaper price. And it is fun because you don't know exactly what kind of skein you're gonna get. But I thought it would be so fun to order a sock set for my husband. He doesn't know I bought this yarn, so I have to definitely cake this up before he gets home from work today. But green is his favorite color, and then the coordinating that they picked was light brown tan color. So I'm gonna make some socks for him out of this, so definitely coming with us, and this is a surprise for him. The last set of yarn I have, I bought it locally in Waxahachie, Texas, which is just south of Dallas, as a way to kind of commemorate our time here in Texas. I thought it would be fun because I hadn't purchased any yarn from a yarn store here. Because of my Attack My Stash goal, I'd been really conscientious of that. And with the pandemic, I wasn't able to, and I didn't want to go into yarn stores for a long time. But recently I went to this yarn store. It's called U2 Yarn in downtown Waxahachie. U2 Yarn is the main dyer. So I bought one of their last chance colorways. I don't know what it would be called, but it's this beautiful tan with like a rust brown in it, which is so pretty. And to match, I found some fingering weight left over, just 23 grams, which is perfect for a little mini skein. And I bought this to go with it. So this is like my Texas sock set that I purchased, and I was cheap, and so I bought two different skeins that were on sale. They were last chance or remnant skeins, but I think these colors go really well together, and I'm super excited to make a pair of socks from this. As I'm starting my sock knitting journey, I'm learning a lot, and I'm really excited to keep going. It's the perfect little project to take in the car or on trips or to church. There are some more tricky parts that require technique, but then there's also parts that I can just turn my brain off and just knit mindlessly, which is also nice. So it's good to have a good combination. Those are all the skeins that I need to cake up today and put into my stash that's going to California with us. All right, so we have got a little voiceover here for the time lapse. You can see that I'm just winding up those hanks and then splitting the new sock yarn cakes into 2 equal parts. I do this so that I can ensure I have enough yarn for each sock to be the exact same size. I do that so that instead of getting to the second sock and then realizing I can't finish my toe or my cuff, I know I have enough yarn for the socks to be the same. I'm so excited to use these yarns, so make sure to check out my Instagram at Crochet Creations or my blog at crochetcreations.com to see what I make with all of these. Also, I wanted to thank you so much for being here. I am finally able to get this video out, and I'm proud of myself for doing that, but I'm still honestly pretty embarrassed by the video and editing quality here, so I really appreciate your support watching this video. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you believe that my content will only get better from here. I truly apologize. There's a lot of awkward jump cuts and ugly title screens and a lack of audio and whatnot, and this mess of a video is honestly, it is what it is, but I have to start somewhere. So if you have any video editing tips, please leave them in the comments below so that I can keep growing and learning through this process. I hope to upload more crafting vlogs, process videos, and day in the life of a work-at-home mom type content. So feel free to let me know if there's anything else you want to see from me. I would love to have you join me as I share more of my yarn journey on this online space. I'm a fan of hand-dyed finger weight yarn, as you can see. But if you could only have one yarn, what would you not be able to live without? Share with me down below what your go-to is right now. Again, I really appreciate you being here. So let's get back to the decluttering. I was able to finish kicking up all of the recent acquisition, and I didn't get a chance to talk a lot about them, so I'm gonna just briefly mention what I was trying to say earlier when my baby was starting to lose her cool. I've got this sock set from Sorella Yarn. It's an oopsie set. I'm gonna make a pair of socks for my husband. I already separated the skeins into 2 balls each so that I can make sure I have equal socks. I use my scale to measure that out. So I have those. The little hanks are kind of falling apart. They're a little too small to hold themselves together, but I have that. He knows I want to make him socks eventually, but he doesn't know I already have the yarn for that. So I thought that would be really fun. And then I already mentioned this yarn from LaRue Cotton with this beautiful Georgia Peach speckled colorway. The tonal is Sunny Days, and I'm so excited. I just had to buy any yarn related to peaches, and it is so pretty and fun and summery, and I'm really excited that I can make her something. Last time I bought nice yarn to use for a garment, I didn't buy quite enough for the pattern I ended up choosing. This time when I was trying to figure out math of how much yarn I thought I would need of hand-dyed yarn, my husband was like, just make sure you get more than you think you need because you can't go back and get it. So that's why I have this much yarn. I don't think I'll use all of it, but I'm sure that I will go into the 3rd skein of the Georgia Peach colorway. I have this Sunny Days as a really cool accent, so I'm sure I'll have lots of that left over, but I'm excited about that project. And then as I was saying, this is from a local yarn dyer, U2 Yarn. These are the only skeins of yarn I bought from Texas, which is kind of incredible. So it's something a little special. I'm excited to see how they work up, and honestly this tonal brown red is really pretty caked up, prettier than it did in the hank. So I'm really excited about it. I'm in the middle of my first sock ever, so I have a long way to go, lots left to learn, but that's okay. I feel like I'm doing pretty good so far on that pair of socks, and it's getting me excited to make more. I have some more yarn on the way from Explore Knits and Fiber, and she has some beautiful, beautiful colorways coming. I did a pre-order, and they should be here in a month or 2. It'll be a little bit, but I just bought 2 more sock sets from her. So now I've gone through all my bins. I kind of have an idea of what yarn I want to keep, what yarn I am maybe going to keep with us as we go on our trip. I have some more stuff to go through. We'll take a look at all my whips, I guess. I know I already showed you my whip bin, but those are all old whips or whips I'm not really caring about, or residual whips rather than my active. I have so many whips, like way too many. We're gonna go through, I'm probably going to bring every single one of these whips with me on our trip, but we'll just go through and double check. This is literally just yarn, and it's to make a llama. I made a llama for a custom order, and it was super cute, the hipster llama. I thought it was super cute, and it looked like Georgia would totally chew on that, so I wanted to make one. We are leaving soon. I don't know if I'm going to get a chance to make one. I'm going to set this yarn aside. I don't think I'll bring this whip with me because it's just taking up a lot of space and I haven't even started it. It's more of an idea. If I have time before we go, I might make the legs so that I can use it as much of this yarn as I need to, and then I'll have a much smaller whip to take with me if I end up getting to that, but it's not super important. This is where I have my current sock whip, so I have to bring this one. But this is how far it's coming along. I'm maybe halfway through with the foot right now. I'm super excited about it. I think it's turning out really well. Not a fan of the striping and how this yarn is looking. Kind of a bummer, but it is what it is, and I'm learning a lot. And then I have a pattern and some yarn for a pair of crocheted socks. When I realized that I wasn't going to learn how to knit socks for a while, I bought a crochet sock pattern, and then I also didn't finish. I also didn't start it. I started gauge swatch. I fizzled out halfway through, so I ripped it back, and I just have it all ready in a bag for me whenever I'm ready to make socks. I know I want to make this pair of socks, so then I can kind of compare knitting versus crochet socks. Surprisingly, they both require more math than I thought, and so now that I'm working on a knit pair, I feel better about working on a crochet pair that requires so much math. I think it'll be just fine, and the shaping will probably be easier to me since I'm more familiar with crochet, but we'll see. I definitely want to make this soon so I can kind of compare and contrast. This is the yarn and pattern for a pattern test I already completed for a little cactus beanie for a baby. It was super cute and I wanted to sell it. I have it up on my Etsy, and unfortunately no one has bought it yet. You only need to make one more. I don't think I have more yarn than that. Maybe I could get 2 more newborn ones. This isn't as important, so I think it'll go in the maybe pile. If I end up having room, I'll probably bring it and then finish off the yarn and then have it to sell in stock rather than made to order. Here I've got my yarn for my sweet pea sleep sack that I've ripped back like 1,000 times. I need to finish this freaking pattern. I don't know if I'm going to write up the pattern anymore. This is a bunch of different skeins of yarn for making a cardigan. The chestnut cardigan by Woodland Stitchcraft. I tested her pattern. It was so fun to make. It was so fun to work up. Really cute. I made the 6 to 12 month size for Georgia. I'll just use some other yarn to make the 12 to 24 month size. I thought I would use up more yarn than I did. I already did one color change because I'm doing kind of a fade. That's a bummer because I was hoping to finish off some skeins of yarn. But I do want to work on this because it will not take very long at all. So I definitely want to work on that, especially before the colder months come. Here I've got a diaper cover that I'm working on. I'm sure it'll be too big for my little one, but it'll cover her big cloth nighttime diaper. It's made out of wool. You can lanolize it, make it more water repellent. So that is a really great solution for a nighttime cloth diaper. So I'm making that cover from a free pattern that I got from someone in one of my Facebook groups. So I'm kind of testing that out, seeing how it works. I do want to finish this for sure. I don't know if we'll be able to cloth diaper where we're going. It just depends on what laundry facilities are available. But I do really want to finish this. So I'm going to bring it with me because that is something that I want to work on for sure. Those are all the whips I could track down. I'm sure there are more things sitting around and hiding places in my house somewhere, but I'm usually pretty good about keeping most things together. Now that we've gone through most of my yarn, I think we're going to go through my tools and books now to kind of see what I want to keep. Okay, so this is the top of my dresser. We're gonna go through some of this. There's lots to get through. I'm kind of embarrassed by how it looks, but this is real life and we're about to move, and so things are a little bit crazy. Oh, I guess this is technically a whip. This was gonna be an amigurumi little duck toy, and I have like the body done, but nothing else. That's not important. I got some Tunisian crochet hooks, and I got them on wish.com because sets are really expensive. I wasn't ready to commit so much that I'd get a whole big nice set. They are actually pretty okay. My biggest complaint is that they have really long cords, and you can't switch them out or make them shorter. They're really unwieldy to fold. The joint is not great. For something I bought for a few bucks, I understand. Mostly it's just the fact that this cord is obscenely long and hard to work with. And then I don't use Tunisian crochet hooks very often. They've mostly just been hanging out on my wall. When I want to invest in more hooks, I'll get a nice interchangeable set that's really small, compact, fits in a case really nicely, and so when I do want to use it, I can just pull out the pieces I need, put it together, and be good. I do want to learn more and grow more, but these are not worth taking all the way to California. This is a blanket that I'm selling right now, so I'm trying to keep that folded nicely. So I have this out ready for that. I have this scrappy blanket. I've used up quite a bit of scrap yarn for it, and it's something that I'm going to donate to the animal shelter. Someone else that I have followed and interacted with online lives kind of near me, and she was trying to get some materials to make some scrappy blanket for an animal shelter, and I thought I would volunteer and help actually make some blankets since I knew I had plenty of yarn. That's what this is. This is like another scrappy blanket that's super cute actually, but it's Red Heart Super Saver yarn, so it's not fun to crochet with and takes some washing and use before it softens up. I'm thinking I'm gonna make this a little bit smaller of a blanket, so I'll just finish off this purple yarn. Maybe I'll do a little bit more. I have this, and then I have another little scrap blanket started. So I would love to finish these before we move so I can donate them. I just don't know what I can do. Maybe I'll try to bring one to New York when we go on vacation and make that a goal to just use up a bunch of yarn on vacation and come home with a bunch of blankets to donate the day I get back. I'm not sure. None of those are coming to California with me. I have a project bag. I'll definitely have a project for it, I'm sure. Oh, I've got some scrappy yarn. This is worsted weight, so I'm going to use this on this scrappy blanket for sure. One of those. This is DK weight, and this is left over from that baby cardigan, the chestnut cardigan. I thought I would use it up because it was the small skein I picked from that project, but I didn't use it up. I haven't even split the yoke yet, so I don't think I'll use any of this on the sleeves. This is probably not going to come with me. Yeah, it's probably not going to come with me to California. It's looking a little bit less crazy. I have a cloth diaper that I meant to put in my car as a backup. That doesn't belong here. I have a baby book, all sorts of stuff. It's crazy trying to pack for a move and pack for a vacation at the same time. Mentally, my brain is all over the place, but we're making progress. We are making progress. This is where most of my crochet hooks live. Surprise, surprise, I don't have room for all my crochet hooks in here. Oh man, this is gonna be hard. I have to decide which crochet hooks to take with me and which to leave behind. I didn't think about that. Well, okay, we'll start here. This is a travel crochet hook set. It's been awesome. I thought it was a really dumb idea when my husband gave it to me for Christmas. Sorry, down. It lights up and you can see through the clear hook what you're doing. So it's perfect for car crochet at nighttime, or if you're watching a movie with other people and the lights are down low so that you can see easier. It's perfect. Also super handy just having an interchangeable crochet hook set in general, because if I'm not quite sure what hook I need in order to meet gauge for a project, I can just grab the whole set and go and know that I'll have the hook that I need. So this is definitely coming with me. I have a couple massive hooks. This one is a Q 15.75 millimeter, and this one is so big it's not even labeled. I think it's a 35 millimeter. Crazy, crazy, crazy. I never use these. These are not coming with me. I've been using them mostly as toys for Georgia. I've got a huge range of ergonomic hooks. I've got nice shaped hooks from Furls Crochet. I've got Susan Bates and Boyer hooks. Boy hook? Boyer? I'm not sure. So I've got plastic, aluminum. Choosing which ones I think I'll actually need. Will probably end up choosing which hooks I will keep in my life. Can't possibly need all these hooks. Like I said earlier, I don't really work on too many Tunisian projects. I probably won't bring my Tunisian hooks. I haven't really worked on very many projects and I don't have plans to right now. We'll set those aside, and oh my goodness, I have so many crochet hooks to choose from. And then thinking about all my nice Furls crochet hooks, I do really like working with all of these hooks, and I have quite the variety of size and design. The sizes I use the most are these middle ones from G up through I, so for sure gonna bring those. I'm a little nervous about bringing the wooden ones. I hope they don't snap, but I also have dropped them a lot and they haven't, so I'll just have to make sure to store them safely when we travel. And then if I am going to use any bigger yarns, I do have an M and a P hook, so an 8 millimeter and a 10 millimeter, which makes me think about, I have some of these bigger hooks over here that I can probably just leave behind. I have a lot of these cheap plastic ones. I don't really use these hooks hardly ever, so I will not be keeping those. In general, I hate using plastic hooks because I've broken some. I'm never gonna reach for those again. Probably should just donate them, but I think it'd be fun to find someone to donate to. I bought a bamboo hook once, and I really don't like the head on this one. And I've got a set of steel crochet hooks, and they're super small. I rarely work with lace, and I'm not planning on bringing any with me. Yeah, I should just not. I have a lot of other projects in my queue. I'm not gonna end up doing it. I know myself. So these are gonna stay behind. I've got a couple ergonomic hooks. I've got a 2.5 millimeter and 3.5 millimeter. Totally worth getting. Feels so much nicer than a regular hook. If I use a DK weight cotton or anything smaller than that, these are hooks I definitely turn to. So I'm gonna bring those. And then I have all my aluminum hooks. I'm gonna try to sort out by sizes, because I think really what's the limiting factor is I have most of my hooks in with projects that I am actually using, but I know that I'm going to want some extras of the sizes that I tend to use a lot of. Let's see what I have. I think I'll bring one I and one J hook as extras. I have a lot more really small hooks than I thought. Wow, okay. These are some common sizes I use. I'll do an H and I'll do a G hook. I think I like Susan Bates hooks better than the boy hooks personally, but I think I like them both, honestly. And now for the really teeny hooks. F. Okay, I got a B hook, an E hook, C. So I have B, C, D, E, and F. Got one of each. Let's see, what were those teeny sizes? 2.5 and 3.5. I definitely don't need more of those, so let's see. Part of me feels like, especially because I have some smaller yarn, that maybe I should bring one of each. So I have one of each of these teeny weeny guys. So we have narrowed down, and I'm sure this is still plenty more than I actually need. Wait a second. If I'm bringing these hooks, I don't need any G's or H's or I's. Maybe an I, because I feel like I always am looking for an I hook. I definitely don't need any G's or H's. Don't bring them, Emily. You have too many hooks already. We are good. These are the hooks I'm bringing. Alright, so we've had an intermission for charging the battery and changing my pants because my baby peed on me. But she is all fed and changed, and I'm changed, and we are ready to go. because we are on the final stretch here as far as crochet and yarn things go. So I have this random skein of yarn left on my dresser. This is by Purpose Yarn, and it's in the colorway Purposeful Yarn. It's got like a sparkle to it. I planned on making something for Georgia, and I have not made anything yet. And she might be getting too big for the thing I was thinking of making her, but I will still bring this because I really want to be able to make something for her while she's still little out of this beautiful yarn. And then I've got a whole host of books, and then I have a pattern design that I'm tentatively working on. Not super judiciously, but I have a pattern design in the works. So we'll be bringing that. First of all, I'm bringing my project notebook. And in here, I've got all sorts of different schematics and math and drawings and notes and stuff. And most of it doesn't make any sense, but this is where I do most of the pattern brain work. So I have to bring this for sure. And then another really great resource that I've been using a lot is the Crochet Every Way Stitch Dictionary. And this has been really good for learning new stitches, but also learning how to work with those stitches to do increasing, decreasing, shaping, which has been really useful as a budding designer. So I'm gonna bring that for sure. That will help me a lot. And then I can't possibly bring all of my crochet books with me. So again, I have to remember we're only gonna be gone for 6 months. I need to bring my favorites, the things that I know I will depend on and use. I'm thinking that I'm gonna bring Making with Meaning by Jessica Carey and the Hook Neck, because there's lots of really cool notes and meanings in here that I think will be really helpful for me. And there's also, you know, some patterns to look through. I have not had a lot of time to look through this, so I do want to dedicate some time, I think, to reading this in our next home. I also think that as far as things I may crochet, there's like so many options of things that I could bring, but I just don't know. I think Crochet Cafe, because there's so many really yummy treats in here that I really have wanted to make. I think I may bring this. And then I've got Lauren Epsey's volumes of 100 minis that I had printed out. I don't think I'll bring those because those are ginormous. While I bring this book, I would love, love, love to make these Crochet Iconic Women. It's amigurumi for 15 women who changed the world. And I would love to make some of these for my daughter. I think this would be so meaningful. And I just haven't been doing a lot of amigurumi lately, which is why I haven't really started doing this, but now might be a great time. Oh my gosh, it's always now might be a great time, or maybe this would be good to do. None of the yarn I packed is for amigurumi. So why would I bring 2 amigurumi books? I'll put these books into the maybe pile for now. So many choices! And then I was thinking I might bring the Complete Crochet course. It's a huge book, and I've been working through it slowly, just as a way to better understand crochet. I've not really been picking it up recently. Probably I won't bring this. Okay, I think we're good. I really don't go through that much reading. I like to buy crochet books to support makers because I love books and I love crochet. And then as far as other things, I have my knitting supplies. So I started knitting and I'm hooked. I am really enjoying knitting, and I've gotten to the point where I'm comfortable knitting socks. I have some notions and stuff, so I've got stitch markers that I'll bring, needle toppers. I have one other set of needle. Got a few really nice stitch markers from Rosie Birch Designs. So I'll pretty much bring whatever's in this little basket. I just recently got sock blockers in the mail, so I'll be bringing these with me so that I can block my socks. I only am halfway through the foot of one of my socks, so I have a ways to go, but it's happening. So I'm getting prepared, getting my stuff together. Sock blockers are coming with me, as well as my Vogue knitting book, which is the only physical reference book that I bought for knitting. This coffee table book will totally come because I would love to be looking through it and learning from it, and even just, it's so pretty. Look, it's just so pretty. So I'm gonna bring that for sure. Between this and then a couple crochet books, I probably don't need to bring the amigurumi books. I think we're decided. So little space, so little time. Only 6 months, I will be fine. I have a few other notions. I've got scissors and a couple stitch markers and whatnot, so I'll just bring all of those. I'll have to figure out how to store them for the journey. We have gone through basically all of my yarn stuff, which is crazy. I'm so glad that I could work through my yarn stash and really declutter and organize and get ready for this move. Decide what we're actually going to take with us as we are temporarily relocating to California for 6 months and then putting the rest into storage. Big decisions. I feel good about all the yarn that I have. I can't say the same for the yarn that I'm going to put into storage, but the yarn that I'm bringing to California for sure is bringing me joy and excitement just thinking about all the projects I'm going to make. My goal to attack my stash is definitely going to look different for the second half of this year than I anticipated. So I'm excited to see what it'll bring, what kind of projects I'll make, what kind of things I'll design, what kind of finished objects I'll have at the end of all this, what kind of new local yarn stores I'll find and other yarn I'll end up getting to support local makers. There's just lots of exciting things happening as things are changing. So thank you so much for joining me and for cheering me on as I worked through all this and decluttered and got ready for this move.